you doing? My name is Jay Byrne, and this is this week's episode of the Effects Loop. And we're keeping it simple this week. I'm going to give you a little explanation here. This week we're going to talk about the Fender Mustang LT25. It's a practice amp. It's an it's got an 8-inch speaker, Fender designed 8-inch speaker in it. And not a heck of a lot to talk about, but I'm going to show you some cool stuff actually. The version that I have here was a limited color. It's a surf green. You can get them at Guitar Center, I think. I don't know. I think the green looked cooler than the black, because the black just looked really plain and boring. But yeah. So why do I have this amp? Like really, seriously, let's talk about it. I needed a practice amp. I needed a small amp that's not heavy, that's easy to carry around. Yes, I have the Fender Deluxe Reverb Tone Master, and that thing is light. I don't like to bring that thing around with me too much because I don't want to damage it unless I'm going to play a gig or something like that. Then I could obviously use it. But I don't like to drag it around with me, just going like random places and stuff, unless I need it, okay? I go to my parents' house all the time. They live out in the country, and I like to bring a guitar and an amp. Sometimes I do some maintenance work over there just because I'm just hanging out, you know, chilling with my dad, just talking, doing whatever. And I decided that I need a small practice amp. So I had one of these before, and I liked it. Then I thought, okay, well, if this is good, I'll go up to the 50. And I tried the 50, and I hated the 50. I'll be completely honest with you. The sound quality of this isn't amazing, but for an 8-inch practice amp, it's really not that bad. It's one of the better sounding ones for an 8-inch practice amp. I mean, an 8-inch speaker is not going to sound amazing anyway. I had a small orange, okay, that's all solid state. There was a little orange practice amp. And it was okay. It was old. It was like an old school practice amp though. I mean, the distortion kind of sucked. Like, the clean was okay. It didn't take pedals very well because the speaker just couldn't handle pedals. So what I like about this is it is all digital. So you're getting like digital modeling for your sounds, which I think allows them to design the sound of whatever your amp you're trying to dial up with the 8-inch speaker a little bit better. I think they were able to tweak it and make it sound as good as possible. When you go up to the 50, which is the larger one, we'll go up to a larger, which is like the 50 watt, all the issues with the sound stand out. Like, I think, like, if you have issues with the sound of this, you'll have even more issues with the sound of the 50, because with a 12-inch speaker, it points out all the flaws in the amp, and it just sounds bad. I mean, there's so many better 12-inch speaker amps, 50 watts, 12-inch speaker amps that you can get out there that sound better. But if you're looking for something cheap, I'm talking like under $200 that you can throw in a car and just bring to somebody's house, jam. Maybe you work. Maybe, you travel for work and you want to have a guitar and an amp in a hotel room or something like that. This is perfect for that. Throw it on your desk at work. I mean, it can get nice and quiet. And it sounds good at low volumes. Actually, I think it sounds better at low volumes than it does loud, to be honest. This isn't an amp that you're going to be using to play gigs with. You're probably not even really going to be able to play with a band. You might be able to crank this thing up loud enough to play with a very quiet drummer if you're just jamming in somebody's basement. No, this is the amp that you have at home that you plug into late at night because you don't feel like futzing with pedals. You don't feel like messing with menus and dealing with loud amps or whatever. All of my amps adjust pretty low at night. The amps I have the Katana Artist Mark II. I have that, the combo. I have the Fender Deluxe Reverb Tone Master, and now I have this. They all play nice and quiet at night. I found myself using this a lot at night lately, just when I want to just plug into something and just go. Now, you can program it, okay? You can, it gives you a small selection of amps and effects. It's kind of cool. It gives you a little block with effects. There's also a tone app, a Fender tone app that you can use for it. You can plug it into the computer, and you can select. What I've done is it comes preloaded with 30 effects, and it's got 60 slots for programming. It comes preloaded with 30 presets. In the actual software, there's like 100 presets. So what I did is I went through all the presets and I found the ones that I liked, that I thought sounded pretty good. And to be honest with you, even trying to dial in the actual amps, they sound almost as good as the presets. I don't find myself trying to make my own presets. I just find one that kind of does what I want, because this is just for fun. This is when I just want to have fun, when I don't want to really like focus on what I'm doing, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so if you're looking for something that you want, just an amp that you can just throw in a car, this thing's sturdy, it's heavy, it's pretty well made actually for a little practice amp. And they're cheap. They're like $160. I think I paid like $169.99 for this, and I think you can get the regular black one for like $159.99 regularly. I mean, that's a pedal. That's the price of a pedal. So for the price of a pedal, you can get this cheap, like, you know, practice amp that you can use to just throw it in a car, bring it to the beach, I mean, you need to power it somehow. And it comes with a regular solid cable, you know, like you get in the back of like a real amp, like I think they call them IEC cables, like the big one, the big rubber ones. That's the power cable for it. It's the same as like the Tone Masters and stuff like that. It's the same as a regular Fender amp cable, which they're all interchangeable. You can use any amp cable. So if you just have one lying around and you don't know where this cable is, it's super convenient, super convenient, and it's kind of fun to play because like the presets are cool. I'll go through them right now. This one right now I'm doing, this is called Back in Black, obviously, and I'm playing an SG. I decided to go with the SG today because the SG actually kind of just sounds good through every amp. So this guitar just sounds really good. So. So, you know, that's kind of an AC/DC sounding thing. This one's Black Dog. I guess this is supposed to be kind of Zeppelin-y, but I like this one's kind of full and big. It's like... kind of a cool sound. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll show you a couple basic ones. This is a bright Princeton sound. This is supposed to be like a Princeton. I actually really like the sound of the Princeton in this amp. Yeah, so that's a Princeton sound. Let's find some other ones here. This is called Choppy Deluxe. So this is just your deluxe reverb. Yeah, that sounds great. Classic rock. I like this one. This one is actually, essentially, it's a Marshall amp. It's supposed to be like a 70s amp. This one's cool. So I mean, there's a lot on here. I'll give you one more. This is clean delay. I like this setting. This is kind of cool. Gives you a little bit of just kind of a... But they're all kind of in the same ballpark, a lot of the settings. Some of them are a little different than other ones. I can show you a quick fuzz. This is a... Well, I went the wrong way. I can't see what I'm doing from here. There we go. This is a fuzz, so if you like some fuzz... Kind of a 60s fuzz. I don't know. That's what this amp is. I mean, yes, it's got a little bit of a hollow tone to it, but honestly, for a practice amp, you're not going to find anything that sounds much better than this. And I like the fact that you get all these different presets built in. You can actually control the amp yourself. You can go, like I said, you can go in, you can select your amp, you can select your effects. If you're looking for a cheap throwaway practice amp, something that you can just plug into, bring with you, you're not worried about if it gets damaged, you just don't care, you can just have fun with it, you could go so much worse than this. Like, this is one of the better ones. I mean, there are people who have these amps that, I mean, you can record with this amp. You can plug it directly into your DAW and record with it. I'm not really sure how the sound quality of that is because I haven't really tested that part of it out yet, but you can do it, and it, you know, I'm sure it sounds halfway decent. It's usable, I'm sure. I'm sure there are songs out there that people have recorded with them that you probably wouldn't even know the difference. But, yeah. So if you're looking for something like this, this is around 160 bucks. You can get them everywhere. Hell, you go to Guitar Center, they have literally like a wall of boxes full of them. You can literally just walk up, grab one, and walk out with it. It's simple, easy, simple to buy. Oh, and it does have a built-in tuner, which is actually really cool. Tuner, it has a headphone jack, which I know some people are interested in that. So you can use it as a headphone amp just to practice with. And it has this little auxiliary jack that you can plug in, say, like an iPhone or something like that, to play some backing tracks along with, which is kind of cool. I wouldn't expect them to sound that great coming out of this speaker, but it probably doesn't sound as bad as you would think it would actually sound. But yeah, so if you're in the market for something like this, honestly, it's not bad. It is what it is. It does what it does. I mean, this isn't going to be your gigging amp. This isn't going to be your, you know... Probably not your recording amp either. Who knows? Maybe it will be. But you can have fun with it. This is good for a beginner, like a kid learning how to play guitar. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It actually sounds pretty good. I've been trying to find something like this for a while now, and I've settled on this because this is really kind of the best you can get out there with the presets and whatnot. It's the best thing you're going to find for this type of money. And it has the best kind of sound that you're going to get out of one of these little amps. Most of the other stuff is either too expensive or just doesn't sound that great. And you're paying the same amount of money. So, yeah. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe. Yeah, let me know what you think if you have one of these, if you like it. There you go. I'm Jay Byrne. This has been the Effects Loop. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you next time.